Here's part 2 of the Uber rating system. Let's spill a little tea.
So in part 1 of the star rating system on Uber, hopefully I explained something maybe you didn't know. But I want to get a little bit more dirty with it. I don't like the system, and I think it should be abandoned. And let me explain to you why I think that. First of all, when the trip ends, on the driver app, the star rating system comes up, and the 5 stars are already filled in to rate the rider. On the rider app, the star rating, if it comes up or if you choose it, the stars are not filled in. You have to knowingly fill in 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever your choice is. So it's easier for a rider to rate something less than 5 stars, I think. It's an unlevel playing field, and it's not fair. Riders don't have to rate a driver. When the trip ends, you put your phone in your pocket and that's it. It comes up, but you can just ignore it. The next time you go to get a ride, it'll ask you, say, hey, you didn't rate your last trip. Do you want to do that? But you don't have to. But on the driver app, when the trip ends, it comes up on the screen. And even if the driver has another trip already in the queue, the driver has to click with those 5 stars filled in and rate the rider. They can't move past that screen. So that's not a level playing field, and it's unfair. When you rate somebody and it's less than 5 stars, it comes up with a list of reasons, and at the bottom it says other. But at the end of the day, you don't have to choose. You can just, rate the 4 stars and move on. And what good does that do? I mean, if I did something or something wasn't perfect, how can I improve? I don't know what the problem was. So it's unfair. I'm doing a ton of trips every night, and at the end of the night or the next day I get notified that I got 4 stars from somebody. I don't know what trip it was. I mean, especially if it was a good night and I can't even think of what trip it was. But, for riders, if you get an Uber ride out at night and then you get a ride home at the end of the night, you had 2 drivers. If you get notified at the end of the night or the next day that you got less than 5 stars, and for some reason, you pretty much know who the driver was. So that's not a level playing field, and that's unfair. The way I was brought up in this country, as far as I know, you have a right to face your accuser, and you have a right to defend yourself. And if you call Uber and you complain, I know for a fact that I've gotten 4 stars because somebody got in and all they did is carry on the whole trip about paying a surge price and how they think that the whole system is unfair, that they get charged so much money and everything. And what's that got to do with the service that I provided? Nothing. But you know what? If you call Uber about a rating, they will not remove it. They don't want to hear it. It's just not going to happen. One way that I think that they could make the system a level playing field, you could change the driver app and make it so the 5 stars are not filled in, and you have to knowingly pick. You can pick 5 stars, you can pick 4 stars, you can give a reason, and make it optional so the driver doesn't have to rate them at all. That would make it a level playing field. Or on the rider app, you could make it mandatory, or fill in the 5 stars like the driver app and make it mandatory. You can't get another Uber trip until you rate the previous driver. That would make it a level playing field. At least that would make it a fair system, I think. I get that people might not necessarily agree with some of these things, but you know what? I said what I said.
Hope this video helps. Click the like and follow button for more content.